in the middle of the night, the first night, they ended up having, or the next day, they ended up having to go buy a new tent because in the middle of the night, they had their heater buddy gotten too close to the side and burned a hole in their tent. So yeah, we all learn. That was their first trip out. So Kevin, Brittany, Lightbright, I will continue to give you guys shit about it until you come on the show and defend yourselves.
Hi, this is Kerry with Trail Traveler on YouTube, and you're listening to the Trailhead Podcast.
Rev it up, let it roar, feel the ground shake. Pedal down, dust flying, no time to waste. The trailhead's calling, engine power on a roll. This is where trails start and stories unfold. On the starlit skies, where the wild things roam. Every trail a journey, every Jeep a home. Meet me at the trailhead, where the wild ones run. The dust kicks high and the day's not done. With the road wide open, the dirt in our soul. This is where trails start and our stories unfold.
So welcome to the Trailhead, everybody. How you doing?
Oh, good.
Well,
Sorry, I threw answers twice.
Thank you, Alyssa. I appreciate it. No, you're good. It's always weird when Pope and Randy aren't here because they're usually are the other very outgoing folks, so they tend to get it started. They are. I'm jealous. I just could not. I could not swing it. I wanted to, and just with the engine stuff and the amount I had to pay out of pocket, it just wasn't going to happen.
I wanted to be away from everybody for a few days.
Fair enough. And since we just started recording and we haven't been, where officially are you, Kerry? From a bunker in the desert, right?
I'm in my rooftop tent in the Nevada desert south of Mesquite. If you look on Trails Off-Road and look up Falling Man, I'm at the trailhead there. I can share some pictures if you want. Absolutely gorgeous here. And we are camping, overlanding for the next few days, just me and the dog to recharge and get, kind of back into the swing of things after a rough start to the year.
Yeah. I felt like I really wanted to just kind of get back to it. And I felt like I needed to just kind of get stuff kind of moving again in some sort of direction. And yeah, it was a rough start to the year, and I know a lot of our listeners know either from the bump that played before the last episode that aired, or just because you swim in the same circles that we do. Josh and Christina Gilson, also known as Roastina on Instagram, were in an accident on New Year's Day and passed away. So family's dealing with that. Their kids they leave behind 3 kids. And I will link to some stuff in the show notes if you guys want to help with that stuff. There's some fundraisers going. There's a ton of local support. So that's been a nice part and a bright spot in the whole thing.
We really appreciate all the help we've been getting the kids situated, taken care of, and the fundraiser. Really, thanks to all of you who have donated or offered different levels of support in different ways. It really means a lot to me to have the support from the community.
Yeah, it's been heartening on that level. It's been pretty heartening. So yeah, I don't want to dwell on it, and I don't want to spend a lot of time on it. We're gonna do. I'm working on kind of grabbing some clips from a number of episodes, including Alyssa's favorite story that Josh told of the Jeep rolling into the street when he disconnected.
The driveway incident. Yeah.
The driveway incident.
Oh,
well,
funny.
he's had a couple. Yeah, he had a couple.
That kind of kicked off his Instagram.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just the audio of her just screaming.
That's what made it.
Trying to stop it by grabbing the.
Yeah. He's holding on to it, like he's holding on to the drivetrain to keep it from dragging, which I I later I understood that part. It's just I didn't understand it in the moment. You just see him go with the Jeep, and I'm like, oh, this isn't right. It was good. It's really good. But yeah, I'm going to take that clip and a few of the other really good clips and just kind of make a best of episode. Just put that out there for folks. But if you want, there's like 6 or 7 episodes. And I will link to each and every one of them in the show notes that Josh and Christina or Josh and Josh Jr. were on. Josh Jr. joined us for a lot. I'm sure he will actually join us in the future for some. So yeah, that's that piece. And then Pope and Randy are currently at Winter 4x4. They will be back next week in all of their glory and have all kinds of stories to tell. We'll probably just end up talking about Winter 4x4 next week. So we'll knock out a bunch of news stories this week with the adults. And because, well, so Kerry, I don't know if you know this or not, but one of Pope's favorite things to do is knock Jeep and Stellantis, and he really hated Carlos Traveras. And so there are a couple Jeep stories, and I just know that they're going to irritate him. So I'd rather do them when he's not here. And yeah. So we'll also have a new, we're going to have a new intro for him. Alyssa's kind of seen a preview of it, and I'm very excited about it, if I'm being 100% honest. AI is the devil, and I worry about our future and the children. So it's not going to end well. It's not going to end well. All right. So let's see here. I actually, oh my God, I did all my pre-show work today, and I completely forgot to check for any new reviews. I'm guessing that we didn't get any though. Everybody's just kind of been busy, and I really wouldn't expect that. We haven't been on the air for a few weeks, but please leave us a review on Apple iTunes. Shoot me a message on Instagram with your information, and I'll add you to a drawing. At 30 reviews, we're going to give it away. We're only 10 away, so I just need 10 reviews, and I will give some free crap away. And you'll be the first folks to get free crap from the show, other than stickers. Nice. And one specific person who's gotten a T-shirt. 2 people who've gotten a T-shirt. There are Patreon subscribers. Thank you very much, guys. We'll get there. I got some other exciting news coming too. Well, I'm not ready to talk about it just yet. So hopefully next week when Pope and Randy are here. Let's see here. We're going to try to stream live again on YouTube. We're on YouTube again. I think we're on Facebook. I'm actually going to I was going to try TikTok. I should really get that going. So that is if they decide
in a few months anyway.
Well, here's the thing is you know what? Yeah, I would have believed that a couple weeks. I honestly never, they're going to delay it and they're going to push it back and somebody's going to do something, and, or they'll just go belly up. And then I noticed that Instagram announced, I don't know if they announced today, but I got a notice on my phone today saying that all of a sudden I can do reels that are 3 minutes long.
Ooh.
So, I'm guessing they're trying to prep themselves, or at least allow some longer form-ish content on their stuff.
A news piece yesterday that said TikTok said, we're just going to shut down. We're done. Screw it. It's over.
Well, that I would believe that if the CEO wasn't going to be at the inauguration on Monday. And I like... those are kind of my 2 things of it. So if it could go either way. Like, we don't have a ton of folks on TikTok that follow us anyway, but I mean, it wouldn't be a huge loss for us. But I know there's a lot of people that like they're I'm mostly on Instagram. I think Alyssa's mostly on Instagram. Pope has a really big following on TikTok. So
where am I going to go to get my new dancing trends?
Yeah. Yeah, I enjoyed TikTok during the pandemic, and then I was out after that. Once things started to get back to normal and I was spending less time scrolling, I'm like, I don't have time for this. It's very addictive. So whatever. We'll see if it sticks around. I'll know how to do it then, but, or we'll see if this, completely kills the computer that I have off to the side here. All right. And again, you know what? I'm going to post a picture, or maybe I'll put it in the show, like right here, for that the one that we put up on YouTube and stuff. But the setup here is amazing. Like, there's a lot of lights and there's computers, and then I keep looking at Kerry, and Kerry's just got a Starlink and his a laptop at least.
Yeah, my MacBook
okay,
Pro.
At least a laptop. Okay, it feels better. If you were just on your phone, I'd feel really like you got a light. You got a decent light there.
I mean,
no, you don't need to do it. I'm good. Oh boy. All right.
Let's see here. So cool out here.
I know, right? Let's see here. All right. We got. That's it. That's all of the news I've got. I do have a voicemail. Nathan checked in since we've all been out, so let me play that one right.
God, you're more annoying than a creative voicemail message.
Believe it or not, George isn't at home. Please leave a message at the beep.
Hey, Trailheads, Nathan calling in again. It's been a while. I hope you all are doing well. Don't have much going on. Finally got around to edit some of my video backlog I had. Editing loosely, more like just smashing shit together. But anyway, excited. We got a trip planned here, end of March time frame. We're going to go down to the Can-Am Loop in West Virginia. It's a trail road through the Monongahela National Forest. So looks like it should be a pretty fun time. It's less extreme off-roading, more, moderate, light trail section, but it looks like a pretty scenic path. I think it's like 14.5 miles or something like that. We're going to make the weekend of it, so spend an overnight at like a little lodge motel type of deal. So excited about that. Should be a good time. Hoping you guys have a podcast tomorrow, and I can catch you guys then. Thanks.
Awesome. Hey, well, thank you, Nate. It's been a while for all of us, if I'm being honest. So I apologize to everybody listening right now who's like, damn, they sound rusty. It's because we are. And because we feel like let's see, the last show we did was the 20th. The last live show we did was the 20th. And Alyssa, I don't know if you were here for that one or not. Were you?
I wasn't like here, but I was watching live. Okay. So I was at a concert.
Oh, okay. I couldn't.
Yeah.
I had been drinking that night, so I 100% can't remember.
I pulled it up live and I was watching, and I was like talking to you guys, but I couldn't hear you guys. And then, yeah. But no, I wasn't here.
That's right. Okay. They got to get that live caption thing under control. All right. That's okay. I appreciate you. One thing we didn't cover, does anybody have obviously, Kerry, you do not have a broken Jeep, so I feel like we can skip you, and I don't want to jinx you by saying anything else otherwise. Alyssa, have you broken anything? Well,
I know.
It's the off season, so it's kind of hard, but I did blow up my engine.
That's a feat. Yeah.
Well, it's fixed now, but yeah, it's still.
Oh, that's right.
It was November.
Gosh. It's flown by. Yeah.
Jeep's running great. Trailer's running great.
Good.
I'm having a good time out here.
Good. Yeah, I don't think I broke anything.
All right. I'm really jealous of your situation. Yeah. I'm really, really super jealous. Okay. All right. Well, Nathan, so when you get done with that trail, Nathan, shoot us some pictures and I'll show them on the show with your next voicemail. And then, yeah, I'm interested to know about it because obviously I don't think that's when we got on Trails Off Road. We don't have a lot of that stuff out east. So, and that's, I should say this real quick to you and anybody else that lives out east. If you're, and out west, frankly, too, if you're ever interested, if you've read something that I've done on Trails Off Road and you're like, man, that'd be kind of fun to do, go out and take pictures and videos and do all that kind of jazz, go to the website and check out, or go to Trails Off Road and go to the bottom. And I think there's a link on the bottom that says Write for Us, and it'll give you some information about setting up an appointment to talk about it and see if you really want to do that and be a scout router, or actually write up trails. And it's a process, but if you like doing that kind of stuff, there are so many trails. I can't tell you how many roads. Like you hear about the poison spiders, and you hear about here in Colorado the Geneva Creeks and the Argentines and the Chinamans and all that stuff. But there's just hundreds of roads you've never heard of. then some of them have challenges that people don't know about or don't expect. And it's been a lot of fun to explore and do that over the last 2 years. So if you're interested, just everyone take that reminder in 2025 to go do it. And I won't beat that dead horse anymore. All right, cool. So yeah, that's all I got. I was going to talk about a couple things. Part of me wanted to talk about the fires going on in California, and I feel like I kind of want to wait a little bit on it, just because I kind of want to see what the actual final cause is determined to be. But I will say about it in the meantime is, don't shoot off fireworks. Just don't. It's not worth it. For the life of me, I don't understand why they let them put up the half-assed fireworks stand here in Colorado at all. But just don't shoot off fireworks wherever you are unless you live in a wet place. And you know what that is. You know it's not Colorado. You know it's not California. You know it's not some of these western states that just haven't seen the rain that they need. If you're going to do a campfire, do something like a lava box. Do something like something that's contained. Propane is best because then you can shut off the fuel source. These things almost always lead back to humans in some way, shape, or form, whether it's an infrastructure problem that they've had in California recently, or some of the first reports where that was a fireworks related flare up or something from New Year's. It doesn't matter what it is. The important part is that I think people really recognize that we need to make sure that we're taking care of our part. We talked about it over the summer. I dumped more than my fair share of water that I'd planned for other reasons on a fire and a campfire, and right here, like 5 minutes from the house, 10 minutes from the house. And it's just, it shouldn't be happening. And here we are.
Yeah. Here in Nevada, they've had 190 days without rain.
Yeah.
It is really dry here.
It doesn't take much. If you do have a ground campfire, don't just douse it or think it's out with some water. You have to truly flood your campfire ring, because there can still be fire underneath happening, and it will spark up again. I just saw a video this week. I can send it to you to share it later, but it's like someone looks like they're putting out a campfire and they're packed up and they're ready to leave, and the video shows like the fire is starting to like pop up again. You have to flood that.
You got to turn it over, make sure.
Really wet. Flood it.
Yeah. It's a multi-hour situation too. Yeah. Like don't expect to break camp and start a fire at 6 o'clock in the morning and then break camp at 8 o'clock and not have to worry about that fire anymore. You should spend a couple hours making sure it's out before you break camp and leave. If I come around on a Sunday afternoon and find your fire, then you left your camp too early. So, it happens a lot. It happens way too much. And, it's just, part of my day gig is handling some of the emergency alert stuff that goes out, when you're someplace that isn't, you need to get an emergency alert. And just watching that kind of at a high level and watching it, just the alerting that was going out around it, it's frightening, and it doesn't need to happen a lot of the times. It doesn't need to happen. So we're living in tinderboxes of our own making, and we have the ways, but that's another discussion for another day. I'm actually sure. I feel like that's something that Ben would love to come talk on the show about, all the fire stuff going on out there. So I have a feeling he has very strong opinions about it. All right. So anyway, but I do have a ton of news. So let's hit some of this stuff that I've got here. Let's hit the Jeep stuff, because I know Pope is going to want to talk about it, and it'll piss him off that I'm doing this now, but I'm okay with it.
We can always revisit.
Let's see here. Yeah, at least if we revisit too, it's not like for Randy's sake, it's not like us hanging on it for a long period of time. He can say his piece and then we can move on from it. Let's see here. Stellantis halts planned layoffs at the Ohio Jeep plant. In a reversal, Stellantis paused its plan to lay off 1,100 workers at the Toledo South Assembly Plant in Ohio. The layoffs, initially scheduled for early January, were part of an effort to reduce the Jeep Gladiator production and align output with slowing sales. With new leadership at the helm, Stellantis seems to be reevaluating its strategy in North America, and the decision could signal the start of a more measured approach to its workforce management. This latest shift suggests the automaker might be stepping away from its earlier hardline cost-cutting approach. For now, the workers at the Toledo plant have received an extension to their WARN notices, which is essentially the notice that you get saying the notice that the company gives so that they don't have to pay you extra money, allowing them to remain on the job as Stellantis reassesses its next steps. So whether this signals a broader change in how Stellantis operates in the U.S. remains to be seen. But at least for workers in Toledo, it's a welcome reprieve. I feel like we have some other stories about changes at Jeep, but this isn't this was like the first one that came up after Carlos Tavares was out. Like this was one of the first ones that popped up, were these first like little stories about some of these cost cutting things that they've been doing, were like, especially in the labor side of the house where they were stopping. And I don't know, I feel like it signals that they might be completely reevaluating what they've been doing there. And I'm hoping that it's a good thing. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
We can only hope.
You don't sound convinced, Kerry.
I'm very optimistic about it.
Okay.
I think the new CEO is more interested in the Jeep brand and what it means to the community and the people who own Jeeps. And the previous guy didn't care. I mean, it just, no, we got to go green. No, we got to do this. And no, we got to do, let's go IFS. No.
Right. Right. Changing all the things that everybody loves about Jeep or charging an insane amount of cash for it.
Yeah.
So
while reducing costs and making the vehicles less reliable and, clunky.
Well, yeah, I mean, they pocketed tons of cash but dealers are sitting on it. And now the problem is that whoever takes over the leadership at this point has to dig out from this hole, because I think the biggest problem that they have is that leadership or that dealership relationship. They've got tons of Jeeps sitting on the side of lots all over the place, and Jeep dealers don't want to get rid of it at a loss. So they're going to hold on to it for as long as they can, but then they're not going to buy any new ones. So I don't. They got to clear that bottleneck somehow.
No, and they were forced to take on so many 4xe that all of a sudden you could get a 4xe for less than the cost of a Rubicon. It's like, what? Yeah, they just needed to dump them.
Yep. So
let's hope things turn around, because I want to buy a Gladiator later this year.
I was going to say, Alyssa, they keep dropping the price on the Gladiator for like $30,000. You want to pick one up?
If it drops,
turn that into your next Overlander. I mean, a cheap chassis at some point is just a cheap chassis, right?
That's what we're going to do. So, or that's our plan anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have a whole build in mind, or is this just kind of early thought processes?
I think we want to start with just a Rubicon, maybe go a little bit bigger on the tires, nothing crazy, keep it as stock as possible, but maybe do something like an alu cab on the back.
Okay.
Just
all right.
Because for me, it needs to be not just a place to sleep. It needs to be a mobile office so I can work remote. And with the alu cab, the top opens up. You can stand up in it. You can put a bench in there so I could be sitting down. Right now, I'm sitting on my bed cross-legged because the roof is right here. And in an alu cab, I'd be way more comfortable.
Didn't I see you just bought a ground tent?
Yes, we replaced a ground tent recently. Funny story, we were up on Pomeroy Lake and we pulled the tent out and the rain fly was missing and it started raining on us and it was freezing cold. And we got back and we're like, okay, time to buy a new tent. Because we can't always take the trailer. So we need a ground tent for those other situations. since we don't have a Gladiator today, so we need that. A good example of that is coming up at EJS. I'm going to go with some of the guys from Trails Off Road and do Elephant Hill over to Beef Bison and stuff. There's no way I can take the trailer through Elephant Hill.
Right.
That's not a thing. That one spot where you have to pull up and then back down the hill. I can't pull up enough to get the trailer down. So, nope, we'll be ground tending during that adventure.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that looks that Alucab looks really nice. I haven't. I've seen similar things to it. I haven't quite seen that particular version of it, but that's pretty slick.
Overlanding is not just about having a rooftop tent.
No, I would agree 100%. And I'm the kind of person that can't really get up into a rooftop tent anymore, so it wouldn't even be an option for me. I'm going to be a ground tenter probably till my end of my days.
Well, you saw my doggy. I have to be able to get him in the tent too, which is why we didn't get a bigger dog.
Okay, that's fair. I just can't hoist my own sorry ass into the thing. That's the problem. Yeah. The dog I'd manage, although I don't think he'd really care for it. But sorry. And then meanwhile, Ezra has learned to climb his own stairs.
Thank God.
Can get in and out of the
He's
cab
95
by himself.
pounds. Nice. No.
Hey, you couldn't do it. I couldn't even.
I couldn't do it.
I don't know if I could.
Even able-bodied, even if I had my legs, I don't think I could do it. Nope.
He's just.
He is.
Yeah, just a big boy. And then I feel like if you'd kept doing the thing where he was running up your hood and over your windshield, I feel like at some point he would have hit the windshield at just the right spot and cracked it.
Like a crack would grow. Yeah. Because I was putting a hallway runner carpet over it, so he had more traction and it was a little safer. But yeah, he definitely would have spider webbed one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was.
Yay.
I think that was a good choice.
Yeah, he's huge.
Yay!
Side note: he's 1 year old today.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Hey!
They say happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Ezra.
He's give me my toy back.
I think. There we go. At least we got his head. We can. I'll do the before and after sometime because he was on the show right as soon as he was old enough to be hoisted onto your lap.
Yeah. I think I showed him to you guys
great.
The
all right.
second full day I had him here. I flew back with him from Houston and 2 days later.
That sounds about right.
I'll tell you. I think we were doing Mondays. Oh, then it was one day. It was just one day. And I was Mondays, I got a modification for my passenger seat. And then he grew in 4 months.
That's awesome.
Right?
Yeah, well.
Oh, I know.
We warned you that was going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we were very explicit about it. Yeah. Right. So let's see here. We'll do this one too because I know he doesn't want to talk about this one either. And I'm interested to see what Kerry. And I kind of already know what Kerry thinks about it. Jeep reverses course on the automatic transmission. So last year we talked about this story. And Jeep had announced that the 2025 Wrangler with the 3.6-liter Pentastar would only come with a 6-speed manual, dropping the popular 8-speed automatic. That decision was not well received from backlash from both drivers, casual drivers, and hardcore off-roaders who rely on automatic. I couldn't even imagine. I know there are guys that do it and guys and gals that do it, and good on you, but I couldn't off-road with a manual. Jeep has reversed that call. The 8-speed automatic is back on the table as a $4,500 option, which sounds like a big deal, but that's pretty much what it always has been. For the V6, while Jeep has been framed this as a listening to customer feedback, quote unquote, it also feels like the company is trying to course correct after a string of questionable decisions under Stellantis' previous leadership. So the Wrangler has long been Jeep's crown jewel. Limiting drivetrain options felt out of touch with its core audience. So this reversal might signal a larger shift, at least a first step towards a more customer-focused decision-making as the Stellantis works to rebuild trust and stability across its brands, especially for Jeep. I know I don't hear good things about Jeeps, even from people who love Jeep lately. And that's part of that. Like, they kept making these kinds of decisions. And this was the second story that came up after that. And I was just like, here's another one. Like, feels like they're kind of backtracking on some of these really questionable decisions that they were making, especially just even as late as last year, right before his ouster.
Yeah, again, moves in the right direction.
Yeah. It's better than nothing. They are. I think the 4XE is surprisingly. I think the 4XE is one of the better like hybrid brands or hybrid versions of off-road vehicles that are out there. Like, you've got at least some sort of a hybrid level that's at least at some level can be completely electric, and people can still put gas in it and get them where they want to go. Actually, I'm going to do that story real quick here. Let's see here. Scout buyers overwhelmingly choose the gas-assisted model over the all-electric. So we talked about the Scout. We talked about the Scout's comeback last year. They were going to release it in 2028. They're going to keep everything American-made production-wise. And then VW promised to offer both a electric and a gas-assisted version. And the surprise or the twist is Volkswagen their CEO or somebody revealed at CES that the majority of the reservations they have are for the gas-assisted versions.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
That doesn't surprise me. No.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to do an electric Jeep, I would never buy an electric Jeep, an all-electric Jeep. But if you have one with a range extender, well, I can carry gas. Gas is easy to carry. I mean, I got 10 extra gallons with me today. So that's not a problem. I'd be down with that. I still don't know that I would want to go that route if you're sacrificing a lot of weight like you have with the 4xe, that 700 extra pounds of battery there. So there's trade-offs for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it kind of depends on what you're doing. And if you really, with all that extra weight comes, you can compensate for it. But as all of us here know, you start adding weight, you got to start talking about your suspension and what you do to modify to it. And I think it's an interesting. I don't know. I'm still sold. I still want one. I still want something electric to take out there. I'm really tired of scaring stuff, and sometimes my Jeep is just noisy. And for quite some time, I had a squeaky belt, and I had no idea it was just a squeaky belt. And I really wish I would have just fixed it. That's probably the same thing I'm going to say when I finally fix my clock spring.
Well, anybody who has wheeled a Jeep in the heat of a summer, and you hear that engine fan kick in, or when you have your AC on, jet engine under the hood.
Yep. So even the Tacomas, I don't think it was pretty warm out there the day we were out at Tokerville. Yeah. I heard that fan going all day.
I believe it. It's just hot.
Yeah, it wasn't going to help anything at that point. It's funny. I was just in the garage today and I noticed that I had not reinstalled my hood insulation. I really have to do that so it doesn't like fry my solar panel or anything else. That's probably the only thing I'm really worried about. My paint is already chipping. Anyhow, so yeah, Scott Ko. He said that during an interview at CES, he pointed to range anxiety and poor public charging infrastructure. That's the other big thing about a lot of this stuff is that some places you can drive a really long distance before you come across any kind of a place where you can charge. And if you want to get the most out of a day and then charge at night as opposed to stop any place for an hour or two and wait for things to charge, then yeah, it's a big deal. So it was noted that the gas assist system does not directly power the wheels. It acts as a generator, recharging the batteries as you drive. Apparently, it's similar to a concept that Stellantis is going to roll out with the Ram Charger pickup, which I'm going to do some more research and come back to at another show. recent reports say that it will be mounted in a way that the running noise is not noticeable and does not take away from the electric feel of the truck. So it'll still have a frunk, an electric, or a front trunk, if you will. They're going to mount it someplace back and behind the passenger seats and under the bed someplace, out of the way, I guess, and you won't really be able to hear it. Scout made this choice. They think they made this call. Originally, they were talking about being an all electric, completely electric, and then last year they came out with this announcement like, "Hey, we're going to add these gas assisted versions," and I guess that's the answer. The public was like, "Yeah," and I think they made a good bet. I think they made a good bet in that one.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah, let's see. That was that was the other one that was that struck me this week when I was looking at it. I was like, yeah, that's interesting. It's not surprising, but it is interesting, and it's nice to see these CEOs of these companies acknowledging the fact that folks aren't quite ready to abandon the ICE engines completely. They're just not ready for a litany of reasons, and we'll get it here. Let's see here. Oh, for those of you who have not noticed, although I'm sure all of the people who listen to this show are folks who pay close attention to the Blue Ribbon Coalition, the San Rafael Swell plan came out. Correct me if I'm wrong, Kerry. If you didn't check out or see this or look at this at all, then just tell me to go pound sand. It was not the worst plan. It was not the worst, thing that we could have had happen. It still closes. It opens 67 miles of routes, but closes 158 miles. And yeah,
I haven't looked in detail about the new routes yet to see where they go, but I don't know. It seems like a weird trade-off to open new ones while closing old ones, but I don't know. I have to dig into that one some more.
Yeah. I mean, I think the BRC is, their stance on this was kind of like, all right, I feel we don't have to come out, with every gun blazing on this one. It's not the worst of the plans that we saw trying to be enacted. But they have already announced that they're going to fight these. I think the BLM kind of looked at some of the decisions that were made last year at the Supreme Court level in terms of the Chevron deference and things like that, and tried to kind of maybe mitigate a complete reversal of their decision. But the BRC said they're going to challenge this in some way, shape, or form. I think it's just going to be, I don't necessarily know that they were expecting this kind of a solution either. So it's probably going to take some more time, but I think they're expecting to get those trails back open. Just like the ones in Moab.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Hope so.
Yeah. All right. Let's see here. What else do I have? Let's tell this one because I have a clip for it too. Pull it up here before I do that. See, clips are places where I don't have to do anything. So I talked a lot about this on the show. We talked with Ben about this on the show. The Supreme Court rejected Utah's public lands lawsuit, which was, I'll just read this here. In a significant move for public land conservation, quote unquote, the U.S. Supreme Court declined to hear Utah's lawsuit seeking control of 30 million acres of federal land. Is actually 18, I think, an area almost the size of South Carolina. The stated argued that local management would be more responsive and economically beneficial, but the court refused its rejection without comment, which is what they usually do. That leaves the door open for Utah to refile in lower court. In that particular instance, too, I'm pretty sure that they skip leveled courts. It got sent straight to the Supreme Court as opposed to kind of going up through the normal process where lower courts can make that decision. And sometimes the Supreme Court will just say, we won't hear it because it hasn't been reviewed by a lower court. So let's see. The lawsuit aimed to transfer control of lands used for energy production, grazing, and recreation while leaving national parks and monuments under federal care. Utah's Republican leaders expressed disappointment, but emphasized their commitment to challenging federal management decisions they believe will harm the state. This isn't the end, said Governor Spencer Cox in a joint statement with the Utah legislators, and we are committed to improving land management in cooperation with the incoming administration. So we talked with Ben about this in September. Ben had some strong feelings about it. Hang on a second here. Let me pull this back up. Resistance is going to show me which one is which. That's the right one.
If I'm not mistaken, Utah also has funding for a group to manage such a thing if this happens.
They have already passed laws that they've passed management plan law, like sort of like land management laws. But really? They were all expecting this to happen 10 years ago, and they started signaling this is what we would do, and they actually like codified that into law. It wasn't just like we're going to say this to the newspaper. And so Utah has laws to protect the environment, to support recreation. There is a lot of funding. There would be a lot of revenue coming. They would probably utilize the resources. And I mean, hey, maybe they would harvest wood out of forests instead of letting them all burn down. You never know. I mean, one thing to also clarify is the bill or the lawsuit only makes claim on 18.5 million acres, which is about half of the federal estate in Utah. They didn't make this claim on the Forest Service lands. They didn't make it for anything as a national monument or a national park, any of the congressionally designated wilderness areas, because what they're saying is that those lands have been designated by Congress for a certain purpose. And but the multiple use land that's governed by FLPMA was intended to be managed for multiple use, and not like that land, they see it as like categorized differently. It's an interesting constitutional question. I'm from Utah. I've been watching this unfold for a while now. I think the state of Utah has been injured. I think all of Western states have been injured by the federal government continuing to manage their land. The only reason we as a people even tolerate it is because of outdoor recreation, and that we get to go and like freely enjoy and benefit from the lands. And they are so spectacular and beautiful. We get so much value out of that. If you remove like outdoor recreation off of the public land equation, the public support for public land would plummet. Like nobody would support public land because it's so terribly mismanaged. I mean, it's like even with all the goodwill they get out of recreation, they're still burning it all to the ground and don't know what to do.
Because they're not managing it well.
And it's like I have two tabs open on my browser right now. One of is the Forest Service doesn't have enough funding to hire firefighters. The other one is we're looking to buy more land. It's like why
let's get more land that we can't manage.
Why don't you buy more? You can't more. Did you find some that hadn't burnt down yet, and so it's time to get that into the portfolio?
Yeah, he feels very strongly about that as a Utah. It's one of those things where I'm glad that at least a decision has been made on that. I don't think it's going to matter as much now because of the next 4 years, but it'll be very interesting. You know, he had mentioned that this is something that they had brought up before, and something that they were prepared for well before the current administration and well before the next administration. So I don't think this is something that's going away for the state of Utah as far as an argument is concerned. I think they're going to table it for now because they have other means to secure their land, to secure federal land, at least secure control of federal land in their state. So, it was an interesting one. That kind of came out and then nobody talked about it. Like I saw a couple little news articles about it and it just kind of died in the dark. So we'll see if that one pops up again. Because I know states like Wyoming, I think had signed on to that, and a couple of other Western states had signed on to it as interested parties. So we'll see. All right, let's see what else we have here. I'm gonna leave that one for Pope. I'm gonna give Pope one.
Have you talked about the Explore Act?
No, it's on my list. You want to talk about it?
Yeah, exciting for content creators to get this signed into law finally, and removing some of the unnecessary burden of getting permission and permits to film inside of national parks. I personally am very excited about this.
I think all of us should be. Alyssa, I don't know if you were part of that discussion originally or you've been on that show, but one of the things that had come up in the last few years is exactly what you need to film commercially on public lands, and some of that had been kind of muddy. The FAA says if you're making any kind of money on it, you have to be, so if you're just YouTube monetized, you have to have a special filming permit, and you have to be registered as a pilot. I don't think this changes any of like the FAA, know, commercial registration requirements, but this changes. Right. It just essentially it just says you can hold a GoPro in a national park as a content creator and not get sued by the National Park Service.
Do you want me to go over the key changes or the key points?
You got it, buddy. Yeah, hit me.
Yeah. So now one of the problems that we had in the past was you had a permit application fee, which was typically $250 to $300 depending on the park. Then you had the permit fee itself, which was, depending on the park again, $250 to $300. You had very restricted places where you could film, and they would deny you for most any good reason. Death Valley was the worst. You would pay your permit fee, your application fee, and then they came back to you and said, you're allowed to film in these 2 parking lots. And that was it. It was like,
really?
Yeah, that's ridiculous. So now there is no permit needed for filming with small crews, meaning under 6 people. Well, for us, it's 2. It's my wife and I. 3 if you count the dog, right? So you can use handheld cameras or small consumer grade equipment. They don't want big movie cameras and things, but we don't use that stuff. We use phones and GoPros and DJI Actions and things. You can film any activity that is already permitted in the park: hiking, camping, off-roading, whatever that park allows. You would still need a permit for a large-scale production if it's going to cause any disruption of the park, that they have to reroute people or you're interfering with other people's enjoyment of the park. So in essence, so long as you are not disturbing the park itself, requiring any use of staff, and you're not disturbing any other people from their activities in the park, you can film.
That third one.
And that's...
Yeah.
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 And I think that's fair. I think that it's public land. It belongs to us. We should be able to enjoy it and document our adventures in it. And as long as we're not disturbing anybody, it shouldn't matter.
Yeah. I think that was the biggest thing is I don't understand. Yeah. If you're going to have a big camera crew out there with, special equipment that might take up extra space or in some other way, shape or form impact the environment around you. Right. Exactly. Then I don't see, most of the time I don't get out of the Jeep when I'm droning. So yeah, this was a good one. This was a win. I think so for people who are not familiar with it, we've talked a little bit about it here, but the Explore Act was a giant recreation, public lands bill focusing on recreation that had kind of come in last year, and they weren't sure if it was actually going to get passed and then signed into law. And then a couple weeks ago, just kind of surprisingly, it just kind of went through and got passed and was signed in a few days later. And then January 4th, it was signed into law, and it's the Expanding Public Lands Outdoor Recreation Experiences, because if we don't love anything as a country or as a people, it's acronyms. So that makes up the Explore Act.
I was shocked with how fast it went through everywhere.
Yeah. I figured it was going to languish and die, and we weren't going to hear about it again until next season at the earliest. And lo and behold, they put it in there. So yeah, that's for us. That's one of the biggest things. Filming permits. The BRC had filed a lawsuit on that regard, and they essentially get to vacate it now. They don't have to follow through with it because we're now protected under law in a lot of ways. And the rest of it is they're requiring the transportation mapping requirements. They're making some things essentially about how they're saying that the government has to come up with actual maps that are accurate before they start closing shit. And so there's still some of this, and I was reading about this today because some of this legislation was written before the Chevron deference was overruled and upended. So there are some areas where they kind of say as the agency decides, and they can't do that anymore. So it'll be kind of interesting to see how that gets litigated. Some of this is going to end up in court no matter what, but this was a big deal in a whole lot of ways. There's a lot of stuff for improving access to disabilities on public lands. The part that's very interesting to me about that one is I think that's going to play into the other stuff going on currently in regards to accessing public lands and folks with disabilities. So be interesting to see how that goes. Folks who hike and there's wins here for everybody. There's wins for non-motorized users. There's a rock climbing thing. For the first time, fixed anchors are allowed for rock climbing in wilderness areas. That's something that just earlier, sometime last year, we did a whole story about how Colorado was looking to just essentially remove fixed anchors from parts of the wilderness because they decided they didn't want them there anymore. But yeah, the Explorer Act was a good one. I'm glad it came through. It'll be very interesting to see how it plays out. And I'm glad we have groups like BRC, and here in Colorado we have CORE and a few other ones that can kind of pay attention to how that's going to impact trails and stuff down the line.
Yeah, there's some pieces that I'm not entirely sure how they're going to implement them, like easier access to emergency services, like infrastructure to allow for cell signals or Wi-Fi. That's just not possible in some parks, like Canyonlands. Right. How are you going to do that in Canyonlands, right? But it's probably going to come out as where possible or around the visitor centers, or they'll come up with something. But there's just some technology barriers to some of this.
Yeah. And I think that's where the BlueRibbon Coalition is just like, look, we see a lot of good in here. We recognize that there's a lot of room for interpretation, and we've seen interpretation get abused before. And so I think that's where some of the concern comes from. So hopefully this doesn't mean just new parking lots and stuff like this. Hopefully this means at some point in the future we can actually, I like that they're opening 67 miles of routes in the San Rafael Swell. I'm interested to know if there's existing routes or roads that are already there, or like we're cutting new roads.
If not, let's go map them.
You know what? I think I'm there, man. All I want to do is get permission from the Forest Service of the BLM to cut a new one, a new road that is like not on Sand Mountain. Like that's just, I feel like we just need to, if we get there, then I will hand my hat to the next generation of people to fight for land use. So, all right. Well, cool, man. Thank you for hitting that story, because I wasn't sure if I should talk about it, but that one is, that one's an important one.
It hits home for me.
I think it hits home for all of us. Here's the thing is I think a lot of content creators it's not a big deal. They'd never bother me. And the story that Ben had was this person they were representing at the BRC was just a person who was a mountain biker who had been posting videos of essentially from his handlebars as he's going through trails, right? And they came along and said, nope, you got to take these videos down. You do not have a permit. And the BRC's like, that's just silly, though. At some point, it passes the basic smell test. So, bless you. It's good to see it. It's good to see this kind of stuff get through. It's good to see that at least the Congress could do something before they closed out this session. And it'll be interesting to see how that one plays out. And to that end, I know that the Historic Roadways Protection Act was reintroduced. We'll talk more about that next show. But I think there's going to be a lot of legislation about public lands in the next 2 to 4 years. And I think a lot of it's going to be about protecting that access and making sure that folks have that access without having to fight an uphill battle against a bureaucracy that doesn't necessarily want you to have it because they don't want to manage it. Yeah, that'd be good. All right. So I don't know. Anything else you should talk about, or should we get out of here? We just rolled over the hour mark, and I feel like we're probably good. Alyssa,
good.
do you have anything else
wanted to bring that one up
about?
because that's a biggie.
No, that is a biggie. I appreciate it.
Yeah, me? No. I didn't.
Nothing?
I haven't really been keeping up on news. Ezra. Of course he found a squeak toy. I haven't,
Nobody keeps up on news.
I kind of also disappeared for a couple weeks,
right now.
Yeah, I don't have much to add.
You're not the only one. And if I'm being honest, I think I'm the only person. Maybe Kerry might get Google News alerts with off-road related topics.
Sometimes I've been not off grid, but I've definitely been not online and active.
Fair enough. All right. Maybe I'm just the schmuck with 90,000 Google alerts trying to catch all the weird news stories that are out there. I don't do the same. I used to do some really weird stories that I would catch on these nets, but I don't do those anymore. So I'm sure everybody's happier for it. If you're not, leave us a voicemail at 719-408-0132 and tell me about it. Or if you just have a story you want me to tell me, or if you want me to tell. Cool. Well, I think I might be the only person drinking here tonight. So
I've been drinking. Hydration.
That's nothing. Like I've got my liquid death, and it's now I just feel like I've been drinking alone for the last 2 hours. That doesn't feel great.
No, it's Friday night.
All right, that's okay. I needed it this week anyway.
It's Friday night.
It's Friday night. At this point, I'm used to it. Yeah, I feel like I'm not trying to do dry January in this house. It's not worth it. So, all right. Well, and then I will do a parting shot to myself. So, cheers, everybody.
Ezra says cheers.
Cheers. Cheers, Ezra. All right. Well, Kerry, how much longer are you out there?
So today's Friday, and I will be out here probably through Monday.
All right.
I'm in no rush.
Let's say through Monday, so you don't actually start back until Monday?
I'll probably start home on Monday. Yeah.
Okay, but you won't get here until after the unholiness that is supposed to be Monday in Colorado, right?
Well, and that's an important issue because I'm pulling a trailer, and I need to check the passes and everything. If it looks bad, I'm going to have to probably go around to Albuquerque and come back up.
You might just be better off doing that no matter what. I wouldn't want to risk Vail at this time of year.
I do not like going up Vail in the snow with the trailer. Coming down isn't as bad, but going up is sketchy.
Yeah. We're not supposed to get any snow, but it's just going to be so cold. And like, it's just up there, even it's going to be worse. Like,
I have Vail on my weather app, so I can see exactly what's going to happen there. And
there you go.
It's not looking. Oh, it's Colorado. Things can change overnight. So
you just don't want to get stuck in Vail. And I don't know who needs to hear this, but all of the hotels in Vail suck. They're all timeshares, and they've never replaced the mattresses or pretty much any of the furniture in there since I think 1987, maybe 89. And it's just they charge you $150 for the pleasure of staying overnight because you're stuck in the pass.
Rooftop tent, diesel heater,
solid setup.
All right. You know what, Kerry? Look,
it's not right. But come on.
No, but the non-overland guy is sitting here really jealous of both of you right now. So
yeah.
Do you have a diesel heater, Alyssa?
Yeah, I have 2.
Okay. So you're all set up for winter.
Well, yeah.
2 of them.
I made one.
Wow. Finger pistols with 2. Okay.
I have 2.
Oh, you're not like packing 2, like swinging on the side of the truck.
No, just one. Or I bring one, but they're like different strengths. But yeah, I've used it for a while, and when it's like summertime and we don't need them, and then it starts getting colder and colder, I'm like, oh, I don't need it. It's not that cold. And then I'll use it. I'm like, oh my gosh, I should have just been using this the whole time. They're fantastic.
I need a smaller one. The one I have with me is a 5 kilowatt, and it's too much because it's only 45, 50 degrees right now. I turn it on and it gets to 70 in here in a heartbeat. I need like a 2 kilowatt version for this type of temperature and the 5 kilowatt for the colder temperature.
The first one I made was a 5 kilowatt because the other one I have is an 8 kilowatt. And like, that's the weakest or smallest I can find besides like the 5 kilowatt, which I had to like put together in a box and build myself. But yeah, if you find a 2 kilowatt that works, let me know. Because I agree, they're pretty strong.
Yeah, there's a couple out there. Yeah, you need to size it properly for your conditions.
Yeah, very fair.
Amazon's got one for $120. I don't know if you want to
do Amazon. The one I'm using is not cheap. This one, $600. This is the LF Bros N2 Pro. To me, it's the best heater on the market as an all-in-one unit. It's a little pricey, but it comes with everything you need, all the hoses. They're good quality hoses and a recirculating system. I mean, this thing is dialed in, but it's $700 or $600. Not everyone wants to spend $600 on a heater. You can buy a $250 heater. You can buy a $100 heater, but you're going to put money into it. It's probably going to be loud. The tick, tick, tick of the fuel pump. I don't hear anything from this thing. I had it on while we were recording. You didn't hear it? I didn't hear it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You get what you pay for.
Don't buy your diesel heater off Temu, folks. Like you can buy a lot of shit. You can buy a lot of stuff off Temu. Just don't buy your diesel heater off Temu.
No. No.
You could even buy your rooftop tent
I
off
sent you
Temu,
that
right,
screenshot.
Alyssa?
I was like, is this for real or is this for like miniature trucks? What is this?
Alyssa was so surprised that they had them on Temu. I'm like, well, they're just a couple $100 less, but yeah, you're running the risk.
I didn't have the app, like I didn't have a profile or anything, so I tried looking to see if it was a true rooftop tent, like, or if it was for like a model truck. So I sent it to you, and I was like, is this for real or is this for like little? That's nuts.
No, they're legit. Yeah. So, and they're mixed reviews. Some people say they're great. Some people say they're not. It probably depends on how much you use it and
like twice
what exactly your purpose is. So, but yeah, just don't skimp on the diesel heater.
Yeah,
you're talking about like fumes and carbon monoxide, and there's a lot of stuff. So either follow a very good DIY guide or get yourself or spend the money. I mean, it's a safety thing. That's just, I just want to get that one out there. So I've moved the disclaimer to the end of the show.
Are like $40 on Amazon. Yep. Very important.
Mm-hmm. There you go. That works.
And they work for diesel and for like the propane ones too,
Easy
right?
Stuff.
Like if you have a heater buddy or a buddy heater, those readers work for those too.
Oh God, I would never put a Mr. Buddy in a tent.
All right. Here's the last story I'm going to tell you guys because it gives me an opportunity to make fun of Kevin and Brittany. And Randy is not here to poke me virtually through the screen with her finger into my shoulder. So as I have said before on the show, and I'll keep saying this, it's true, number one, but two, until Kevin and Brittany listen to this show, they can't say otherwise. I went out with them on their first off-roading trip. They met us in Trails Off-Road. We were doing some trails out in Moab, and they had just gotten their JL, which is now their built JL that they have. It was brand new, bone stock, and we did Porcupine Rim, we did Hell's Revenge, we did a couple of things with them. But I have never told this story before, but they had a heater buddy that they had just gotten and a little 2-person tent. And for those of you who don't know, but any kind of tent that says it's a 2-person tent is really a 1-person tent. And a 4-person tent, right? 1 and a dog. A 4-person tent is 2 and a dog. And you see where I'm going with this. So they had bought a 2-person tent and then a heater buddy inside that tent with them. And in the middle of the night, the first night, they ended up having, or the next day, they ended up having to go buy a new tent because in the middle of the night, they had their heater buddy had gotten too close to the side and burned a hole in their tent. So yeah, we all learn. That was their first trip out. So Kevin, Brittany, Light Bright, I will continue to give you guys shit about it until you come on the show and defend yourselves.
Good. I will use this against them the next time I talk to them.
Awesome. You make sure you bug Kevin because I've been bugging him.
The downside of having a propane burner inside a sealed room is the byproduct of burning propane is water vapor. So you will have nothing but thick condensation inside your tent. Your blankets are going to be wet. Your mattress is going to be wet. Regardless of the safety factors, it's just miserable to have all that water inside because you got to dry it out before you can close everything up. Where a diesel heater, it sits outside. It just blows dry air in here. There is no condensation. There's no worry about stuff like that. For me, that's the way to go.
Yeah. Plus, you're just less likely to light your stuff on fire.
Yeah.
I feel like it helps keep the tent dry too.
Cool.
I have to carry another fuel. Yeah. I have to carry gas for the Jeep.
I see
I have
what
to
you're
carry
saying.
propane for the tent, and now I have to carry diesel for the heater.
Yeah.
So 3 different fuel sources.
Yeah. And I see what you're saying, Alyssa. Like, because you don't have. Yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense. I like that. All right. Cool. All right, we should get out of here. Yeah, I know. Kidding, right? All right. Yeah, I got nothing else, folks. So yeah, please leave us a message at 719-408-0132. Be cool like Nathan and get on the show. I'm going to continue to make the promise that I will play every voicemail until people tell me otherwise or make a case for me not to do that. And I'm sure it'll happen. I mean, I've kept all the hosts keep coming back on the show, so I've yet to ban anybody from the show, so that should tell you anything. So yeah, that's it, folks.
And your
Kerry,
first Starlink guest.
I'm upset right now, Kerry. I'm only upset because here's the thing, like, and because if you're watching this show on YouTube or on Spotify after the fact, all the video quality is going to be great because of the way we edit. But live, your video looks fantastic, and I'm very upset about that. Like, because I could have been doing a whole lot of stuff for a couple of years. I should have been doing the trips out in the middle of nowhere during COVID. Like, I really would. I should have spent the money on it then. Oh well.
So right now it says I am partially obstructed because there is a mountain to my north, so I'm not getting a perfect signal at the moment. And just here you go.
Yeah.
You're still, yeah. You're 60% uploaded on as far as your backup recordings, the rest of that stuff. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm overly impressed with it. So
for those
yeah,
who are watching, I'm getting 128 megabits down and 17 megabits up.
Yeah. Yeah. Your down speed's ridiculous. Like, you're getting better speeds than I'm getting in parts of my house.
And it's just sitting flat, pointed straight up underneath the soft top of my Jeep. So I didn't take it out. I didn't aim it. None of that stuff. It is just facing straight up inside the Jeep.
Alyssa, do you have the Starlink? Can't remember.
I don't think I've done a show with it, though. I've had like meetings and stuff and used it, but I don't think I've done a show with it. Or I think I planned on it once and then we canceled.
Well, no more excuses now.
I know.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised by that. Yeah, no shit. All right. Well, I'm impressed, Kerry. I'm really impressed that it went off pretty much without a hitch, man. I got no complaints on my end. Your video looked great the whole time. So
I'm
that's
happy
awesome.
to join you from wherever I am.
That's awesome, man. Well, you now your episode, and there's another one. Episode 80 is Kerry's episode. So if you are not familiar with Kerry and Trail Traveler, go check out that episode. It's just a couple episodes back, really recent, right before the beginning of the new year. And it's Kerry, it's great to have you for a live show. I'm sure we will have you back in the future.
And I'm out doing what I said I was going to do in that episode.
You are, and again, I have to applaud you, sir. The golf clap here, because we're on video/radio, so I can't go crazy with it. Awesome. All right. Well, one more around the table. Alyssa, you got anything else? All right. Kerry, you got anything else? Anything else you want to tell people before?
Live your life, have fun, enjoy life. Don't waste it. If you have the opportunity to get out and do things, go do them. Enjoy life. It's too short, and things can change in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I second that wholeheartedly. I think with everything that happened and all of what was last year, I think that is going to be a major goal of 2025 and going forward, is just to make sure that I recognize that each day is a gift, and you got to enjoy it and get out there. If
I'm
you
going to
can,
do what I enjoy doing.
There you go. Whatever it is you enjoy doing, right? Like if it's overlanding, if it's rock crawling, you know us, we love everybody here. So just get out there, enjoy it, make sure you have a good time, and make sure that when they write your story, they tell others about how much you love doing what you're doing. Because
Amen.
That's what I'm hearing. Awesome. All right. Well, thanks for riding with us this week. Thanks for letting us be a part of your off-road adventures, and we'll see you next time with the Trailhead. Have a good night, everybody. All right. Hello, Trailheads, and welcome to the Trailhead. Before the trails start today, we need to have a short safety meeting. Off-roading is an exhilarating but inherently risky sport. The insights and opinions that are shared by our hosts and any experts or guests on the podcast are intended to inform and inspire, not replace professional guidance. The Trailhead guests, partners, and any sponsors are not liable for any actions that you take based on what you hear. It is your responsibility to seek professional advice and make informed decisions, especially when attempting potentially dangerous activities. Always check current trail conditions and comply with local laws and regulations. Off-roading requires careful preparation and respect for safety, so ensure that you're well prepared before hitting the trails. And now that that's out of the way, buckle up and let the stories begin. Let's see how your Starlink likes the upload process.
Yeah, looking okay? Sounding okay?
It looks okay so far. So let's see if your seems to be doing all right. It's probably going to wait to try to upload after we're done recording.
No, it says like 71% uploading, 77%, 68.
Oh, there it is. Now it updated. Awesome. Okay, that's easy. Okay, it should keep up.
Yeah.
Here. It's turned into NASA over here with the computers I need in order to get this live stream set up properly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And luckily for you, I don't think we're going to have a totally long show. So,
I'm good. We're just hanging here.
Nice. When did you get there?
I went into Vegas yesterday, and I stayed the night with some friends that I haven't seen in a couple years, and then I hit the trail this morning about 10 o'clock or so, and just been tootling around, seeing some sights.
Nice. What's the forecast there for all of this hot mess?
Oh gosh, it's going to be so cold here. It's typically 50 during the day and 35 at night.
I know typically, but are they getting any of this blast that we're getting here?
No, this is what it's going to be. I'm looking at the weather report.
Thank you anymore. I'm going to be stuck in my house for most of the weekend.
Yeah, it looks really cold there.
It's really gross outside right now.
And my wife said it was snowing.
Yeah, I mean, we're not supposed to get like a ton of snow, but it's not fun.
23 degrees at home, 17 tonight.
Yeah. And then it's just supposed to get like, I'm glad I don't have to go to work on Monday, but still, I wouldn't go to work on Monday anyway.
That's why I'm in Nevada and not Colorado.
I had that issue too. Maybe I'm not the only one. Alyssa was having issues with her computer too. Those of us who do this regularly, I think they changed something.
Oops. My studio light fell over.
Your studio is in your camper shell? Or your little, what do they call that? Hard shell?
This is it's a hard shell. This is the BougeRV camp light.
Oh, nice.
So
that does the work.
Yeah, it's got 4 lights on it. Extends up to about 48 inches. And just, if why don't I just extend it so I don't have to worry about it falling over? And tilt that down. That look good?
There you go. That looks nice, man. I'm really surprised for like an LED flood like that.
Yeah, it's probably on 50% right now.
Nice. I have like 14 lights here.
And then I've got the LED light bar up here. Is that putting? I'm gonna try turning that off. See what the glare is like. Does that look better or worse?
Yeah, I don't know. It looks fine either way. That looks easier to see in that.
Yeah, I'll do it like that.
Technically using less power. I will go live on Instagram. Gives us a chance to share stuff. Oh, we got a waiter. I'm guessing Alyssa's trying to reboot. All right. Go live there. All right, just so you're aware, Kerry, we're live. So hot mics.
Let's do it.
And then Alyssa shows up. Hey.
Hi, sorry. Okay.
Don't feel bad. No, don't feel bad. I struggled with it for a half an hour.
Yeah,
I have no idea what the problem was.
Problem was. I restarted it like 2 or 3 times, and now it's working. Mm-hmm.
And I'm in my rooftop tent in the desert of Nevada using Starlink, and I have no problems.
Yeah, I know, and I'm really upset about it, and I don't know what to do about it right now. So I'm gonna plow on like nothing like that is happening, and that is not a technological thing. All right, let's fix this over here on our live stream.
No snow.
And there's no snow. I'm really bitter about that. Alyssa, are you getting any of this Arctic stuff, or are you just...
Let me see what the temperature is. It's 51 right now. It was a high of 63, Phoenix.
Where are you?
It felt
Phoenix,
a little crisper, but not like
I'm just
drastic. We don't have winter. We haven't had winter yet.
I'm in the desert south of Mesquite.
You're not far.
Cheating. He's cheating. He got it. He's cheating.
That's
he got out of Colorado.
Oh, your heated blanket sleeping.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
That's sweet.
You want to say hi, Eddie?
Mine's being a pain. Not
That's
a pain.
Lucas.
Mine wants attention. Ezra, look up here. I know. I took his toy. Yeah.
Fair enough. I have one of those. Hades is behind me pouting. He won't really look at me. So
we've been today, so Lucas is a little tired.
There you go. He'll probably sleep through the whole thing then. That's awesome.
Yeah. We hiked to some petroglyphs today.
That's nice.
Oh, look at you, adventurous and stuff.
Yeah.
All right, let me share this real quick, and then we'll.
I was going to say, feel bad it took me to get on here. I have to hop off in an hour to go out. Okay.
Perfect. Then let's just make it an hour. No, well, let's just do it. We're live and everything now. We got all the things going.
Shake, pedal down, dust flying, no time to waste. The trailhead's calling, engines fire on a roll. This is where trails start and stories unfold. Under starlit skies, where the wild things roam. Every trail a journey, every Jeep a home. Meet me at the trailhead, where the wild ones run, where the dust kicks high and the day's not done. With the road wide open and the dirt in our soul, this is when trails start and our stories unfold. Our stories unfold. Oh, when the trail gets tough, we crank it up. Dig down deep, yeah, we never stay stuck. Jeeps on the ridge, friends by our side. Off-road family, it's one hell of a ride. Rigs keep rolling, the days we're with them. Gonna tell our stories round the trailhead again. Meet me at the trailhead, where the wild ones run, where the dust kicks high and the day's not done with the road wide open and the dirt in our soul. This is where trails start and our stories unfold. Our stories unfold. Meet me at the trailhead where we roam, where trails start and stories unfold.